Good morning, BookTube. It's Friday. Cold, wet day here in Vermont, but my understanding is it's going to get a little better throughout the day. Library is closed right now, will be for a couple hours. I use this time to get a lot of paperwork, things like that done. Get the bills in to the accounting people in a timely fashion and make sure we're ready for the day. I really use it as a time to sit down, do a little reading, catch up on things. The peace and quiet of the library, when you're the only one in it, is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I love it when the patrons are here, but it's a different thing. I love it when the kids are running around and screaming. That means somebody's here during the regular hours. But during the time when we're closed, this is great. So, excuse me, I started reading. I forgot whose channel I saw this on. I immediately went out and interlibrary loaned, ILL, in other words, got this from another library. Claire Tomalin, A Life of My Own. You can do that without the glare. Last time I filmed here in the library, I had a fire detector beeping and now chirping because the battery's about done. Now I have another one, so this is the story of my life. So this volume of hers came out from Penguin Press, New York in 2018. Her original copyright's 2017, so that must be in England, where she's from, or London, or wherever she goes. So this author is well known to many of you who are into nonfiction. I'll just read a little bit of what she's done. She did a volume, The Life and Death of Mary Wollstonecraft. She did Shelley and His World, Catherine Mansfield, The Secret Life, The Invisible Woman, The Story of Nellie Ternan and Charles Dickens. Excuse me. She did a play called The Winter Wife. She did Mrs. Jordan's Profession, Jane Austen, A Life, Several Strangers, Writings from 3 Decades, which I may read after this one, Samuel Pepys, The Unequaled Self, which is also on my TBR, Thomas Hardy, The Time-Torn Man, her very famous Charles Dickens' A Life. And then she selected and introduced the poems of Thomas Hardy, poems of John Keats, and poems of John Milton. So I'm into this thing. It came in yesterday. I just finished the first 70 pages. Here's a picture of her on a visit to America. It's interesting. Her father was from France, a real Anglophile, studied at the Sorbonne, and then was in London before the war. Very young fellow. Her mom was a pianist and primarily a composer. Faced the challenges that a female composer of that time did, still managed to have some of her work recorded and published. They fell in love. So you have her father is from France, and her mom is from outside of London. I forgot exactly where, but she was a provincial person. Fell in love with London. Was a bit separated from her family when she went to study there, and her father was also outside of the family protective umbrella there, fell in love, and Claire's older sister and eventually herself were born into a very tempestuous relationship, which did not last. So I've been through the part where she's growing up. She's it's a very challenging time. Of course, World War II has come along, and so she's from that generation. Very talented, very interesting young person at this point, and then I cannot wait to see when she got into, I have not read this far, but my understanding is her forays into writing nonfiction after a career in the publishing world came rather late, in her 50s. And she's built a wonderful career since. So that's always inspiring when somebody can do that. So yeah, Claire Tomalin, A Life of My Own. At home, as I've tried to keep up with Preptober, it looks like I'm only going to finish the John Ruskin book, The Stones of Venice, which is great. Great book. It's not great, I'm only finishing one book. The other is going to have to wait, I'm just too busy. This week I went to the Vermont State Capitol for library meetings, and the Capitol building, which was sort of nice. My Instagram, I posted some of the images of that. Yeah, it should be an interesting year ahead for Vermont librarians, but we'll see. Most of my time with work, I've got all sorts of stuff going on, but that's always the case. Most of my private time, outside of my regular family stuff, is I've been working on Preptober for NaNoWriMo. I'm doing this preparatory, it's Preptober because of October. November, the whole month, is NaNoWriMo. And I've found this method of plotting. It's called Save the Cat. And it divides your book into 3 acts. 20% is the beginning, 20% is the end. The second act is 60%. Has all these spots where you, at percentages in the story, try to get within reason these types of events to occur. And I've been doing that and having great fun. Don't want to is giving the story an arc. It's demanding conflict for me to get it done, and character development. Now, right now, I can't write the novel. I do background, I do plot points, that sort of thing, and even at night, I'm waking up with ideas and going in and putting them where they belong in the arc of the story. And by doing that, this thing has really become a great deal of pleasure to do. So November 1st, 1,667 words per day, just short of 4 pages, 50,000 words in the month. I'm doing a space opera type of story that should be closer to 110,000 words. We will see. So I should be at least halfway through by the end of the month. See if I can do it. I hope I'm one of those people who survives it and manages to complete a draft. We have right up the little town from me a woman who did NaNoWriMo years ago. She's got to be on her 8th or 9th published novel. We carry them here. So it can work if that's your thing. But one of my big things on Friday morning, or any morning when I come in, is to catch up on my bookish reading, and that is about books. So this, New York Review of Books. So we have Linda Greenhouse here on the cover. So this is November 7th. So they have Linda Greenhouse on Sandra Day O'Connor, Helene Blair on Simone de Beauvoir, Andrew O'Hagan on Nelson Algren, Sophie Pinkham, Life and Death in the Bering Strait. I've been dipping in and out of this for a couple weeks. A week or so. I can't remember when it came in, but so I don't sit down and read the whole thing, but I love getting into different sections and looking at the ads, and I'll read a good chunk of the articles. So here in the back, we have some of these books for kids here. So just a way to keep up with things. I also read the New York Times book review. So this is October 20th, 2019, the New York Times book review. So I've got piles of these because I don't get rid of them. I mean, I let them pile up because, of course, I can always reference them. So the big thing right now is Bill Bryson, The Body, the writer. When you can have a full-page ad like this, I can assure you it's not cheap to do that. So you know they are invested in this book, which is a good thing for me to know when I'm doing the library. Another one here, John le Carré, Agent Running in the Field. Some of these things are always sure hits. You know what I mean? We know they're gonna be in demand, so we get them. So I have under this section new and noteworthy. I also have what we're reading, and there's an image here of Penguin Black Swine Classic, Great Expectations, which makes me think that somebody over there, that's Ben Brantley, theater critic, so you gotta wonder if he's doing Preptober. The By the Book interview, which I always love these, this one's by Elton John. Let me see, so more ads, section on crime novels, story collection, She Was Like That, New and Selected Stories by Kate Walbert. Let's see, Tough Love, My Story of the Things That Are Worth Fighting For by Susan Rice. Interpreting Clarence Thomas. You're the Monkey by Patti Smith. So I'll go through all these. They tend to be rather short, they're not as in-depth as the New York Review of Books. And then in the end here, I go to, so print and hardcover bestsellers, that type of thing. So I'll go down and see which ones we have. We don't get them all. We're a small library. But I do, if we have a series that shows up, like a mystery series or sci-fi or fantasy or young adult or something, because they have a young adult list too. I'll go through and make sure we keep the series going once we've invested in it. And then work my way from there. So, then this just came in. And this is the anniversary issue part 2 for the London Review of Books. I think they're 40 years old now. I'm old enough to be the London Review of Books father. That's interesting, isn't it? So new from the University of Toronto Press. I did read the section on Sontag, Her Life, by Benjamin Moser. That was written by James Walcott. We did get that volume here. I read the article by Mary Beard of Germaine Greer's on rape. That was very interesting. What else in here? I will read, I have not read yet, Catherine Rundle on Consider the Hedgehog. And let's see. I tend to avoid the political stuff. I'll look at the letters, but I just get so much of that. My phone has all the political stuff. I go home, my wife loves watching the news. I, myself, get a little tired of it. It's never ending, and it's been that way my whole life. So, yeah. I'd rather look at books about other things. So here's Consider the Hedgehog, article there. Don't know what this is all about, but I will read it to find out. And then here's the thing on the back, the Getty, saving the mosaic piece by piece. That's pretty, huh? So yeah, that's the Friday morning. Not sure, tomorrow's Saturday, so tomorrow night we have our annual trunk or treat, where people decorate the back of the trunks of their cars or the back of their pickups and all that for the Halloween. And we have a park where they line up, big line. It's always weather is an issue, but no matter what, we have it. And then the little children come along all dressed up, and they go from vehicle to vehicle, and get their candy or their treats. And then we usually have the fire department there with a truck so the kids can see it, and the town road crews with the truck, and the police with the car so the kids can see it. So they like all that stuff. And then, a few days after that, NaNoWriMo. So those of you out there doing it, sharpen your pencils. Thank you, BookTube.